a special guest on today to talk about postpartum gut health, and specifically how to repair, rebalance, rebuild your gut microbiome after having kids. And I want to preface this and say, whether that was several years ago, right, or whether it was recent, this is applicable if you have had babies in your lifetime and you haven't done something specific to go in and rebuild, repair, and intentionally like reprogram your microbiome for the body you want to have, the mind you want to have, the mental, physical energy, all of those things. That's what we're going to be talking about. So our guest today is Dr. Shawn Talbot. You guys are going to absolutely love him if you don't already know him and haven't already heard any of the incredible, information and science and all of the things. Dr. Shawn has been in the field of mental and physical performance, stress, resilience, right, vigor, weight loss for 25 plus years as a researcher and product formulator. You have several products that you have formulated that are award-winning. I was writing this out and I was like, tens of thousands of success stories. And I'm thinking, 25 years and some of the products that you've done that have just been wildly successful. Have you thought about that? Of how many success
it's super fun,
you really have? You're like blushing, like, oh. Yeah, you're kind of a big deal. He's kind of a big deal. He's written several books, written a textbook, right? So he is like one of the go-to experts when it comes to all things mental, physical performance, stress resilience, and gut-brain health, right? So super excited to have you on today, Shawn, and to hear from you on this topic.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Cassie.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so a little bit of background on me and why this specific topic is something I'm so passionate about. So I was introduced to Dr. Shawn and his incredible products, right, that he's formulated through Amari Global, the mental wellness company, almost 4 years ago. And at that time, I was 15 months postpartum with my second daughter. And I had a ton of gut issues. I had major hormone imbalances. I was having postpartum. I was on the tail end of it, but I'd been dealing with postpartum anxiety. And a lot of it was stemming from my gut, right? And some issues that I was having going on in my gut. And I was introduced to some of the products that Dr. Shawn had formulated, and they made my health do a complete and total 180, right? So having more energy, sleeping through the night for the first time in 18 months, right? Which was massive for me. Like, write sleep in the comments if that's something that would be meaningful for you to be able to get some sleep. So sleeping through the night, food sensitivities, kind of dealt with and taken away, more mental clarity, more focus, more joy, more happiness. Like, I felt like I got myself back and then some, which I kind of lost that after that second baby. And we're going to kind of talk about that and why that had happened. And so I've been on these products now for almost 4 years. And a year ago now, I ended up having a surprise pregnancy. My husband and I, we're not trying, we're not expecting this.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise, here we go. With baby number 3. And I just turned 35, so advanced maternal age. I do have high risk pregnancies. So, there's a lot that kind of goes into it, and it's a little bit of a stressful experience. But I was able to have an Amari baby, right? A mental wellness baby, a mental wellness pregnancy, and a mental wellness postpartum. And I cannot tell you what a difference it made knowing how to care for my body right during the pregnancy, but especially like that third trimester postpartum, and then some of the new products that came out just in time that we're going to talk about today. So I have been able to experience, right, what it looks like, whether, the first time around I was 15 months postpartum, and this time, through my pregnancy and just through this, I'm 5 months postpartum now, what it feels like to know how to repair, rebuild, and reprogram your gut for the way you want to feel. So what I want to start off with, and we kind of talked about this before, is during pregnancy, and I think a lot of women don't know this. I know a lot of women don't know this because I think we didn't know this from a research perspective until recently.
Right.
But what happens in that third trimester, like to a woman's microbiome when they're pregnant?
Yeah. So I think you summed up a lot of the things that the microbiome does for us when it's in a good place, right? It determines our mood and our metabolism and our mental focus and our resilience, and it controls our immune system, right? So the microbiome is doing a lot of really, really important things when it's in a good place. But over the course of pregnancy, the microbiome gets less and less diverse. So microbiome can get wildly complicated. The one thing that all of us, like we scientists, agree on when it comes to the microbiome is that more diversity is better than less diversity. And here's a time of life where the microbiome is getting less and less diverse over the trimesters of pregnancy, right? So by the time the baby gets delivered, the mom is actually delivering a fairly low diversity microbiome to the baby. And there's lots of reasons for that, right? That's sort of like, biologically by design. You don't want to deliver to a newborn baby who's like a clean slate, so to speak. You don't want to deliver a fully diverse microbiome to them. That's just like, it's too much. And so the plan, so to speak, is that mom delivers a low diversity microbiome and then breastfeeds. And then the baby starts to rapidly build diversity on its own in concert with its new environment, in concert with what mom is providing. So the baby builds its own microbiome from there. But the problem for mom is that she's just like made her microbiome worse and worse and worse over those 9 months, especially in that third trimester. And now that low diversity microbiome puts her at risk, if she doesn't build it right back up to high diversity, puts her at risk for holding on to the baby weight, right? So she can't lose weight, puts her at risk for mood problems, postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, puts her at risk for immune system problems. Like a lot of women will develop autoimmune system problems post-pregnancy. And it, seems to be worse with the second kid and the third kid and the fourth kid. So yeah, there's mental wellness aspects to it. There's body weight metabolism issues. There's immune system issues. There's just a lot of reasons that mom wants to do something actively to build her microbiome back up to the high diversity she had before. Otherwise, she's going to find herself in a place she doesn't want to be.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that, and I was really fascinated to learn this during this last pregnancy. No matter what you do, if you are taking probiotics while you're pregnant, all through the pregnancy, that is great. Your microbiome is still going to do this. It doesn't matter how good you eat. I think that definitely has an effect, but you're still going to see that diversity go down by design.
Right. And what, one of the reasons that we tell moms to, eat a good diet, get your fruits and vegetables, get your fiber, get your, take probiotics and fermented food if you can tolerate it, because sometimes there's nausea and stuff like that during different phases of pregnancy. The reason we're telling her to eat all those healthy foods isn't to prevent this loss of diversity. You're exactly right. It's going to happen. Yep. But if you can keep your microbiome resilient, it seems that it bounce back quicker once you do deliver and you continue doing those things, right? So it's important to have that good nutrition during, but it's not going to prevent this from happening. It's a biological construct that has to happen to make the baby healthy.
Yes. Okay. So, and I can speak to that because when I was pregnant with my second, I did all the things. I'm a health nut. I'm not a dieter. I am a health nut, and I have been for a really long time. So I'm really intentional about the foods that I eat and eating fermented foods, I've been taking probiotics since long before it was cool to take probiotics. So I did all of that through that second pregnancy, and still was hit so hard with the postpartum season, and with this third pregnancy, I was a lot more specific in what I used in using probiotics that specifically helped with stress resilience and keeping, inflammation down, and we're going to talk about what they are, but in the specificity in what I was using, my postpartum bounce back was remarkable, compared to what I was doing before. And it really wasn't different from the nutrition standpoint side of things, a lot of it was just what I was putting into my body from a supplement standpoint.
Right, exactly. So you still had that drop in your diversity, but because of what you were doing, you were able to bounce back. That's what we refer to as resilience. So diversity is important in the microbiome for certain features. Resilience is important for other features. procedures, meaning if you do get an insult, like a pregnancy or an antibiotic or something like that, your microbiome is able to recover back from it. I don't know if you and Dace like me calling your pregnancy an insult, but it's a strain on the body,
I mean, that there are parts of pregnancy that is the exact perfect term, that it is an insult. I will just say that. Okay, so postpartum, let's talk about postpartum. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter if you are newly postpartum or you had kids years ago, you are in this boat if you did not go in and specifically rebuild, repair, and what's the really cool thing that we can do now, which you couldn't do years ago, is you can intentionally reprogram your gut for how you want to feel, how you want to look, what type of body you want to have.
Right. That's the coolest part about studying the microbiome, is that it is exquisitely programmable. You program it in a wrong direction, right? If you're eating Big Macs every day, you can program in a positive direction. And Cassie, let me just reemphasize the point that you just made there, so people are clear. You could have had your babies years and years ago, and if you didn't go in and repair that microbiome, it's very likely that your baseline diet, just sort of like letting nature take its course, probably has not gotten you back to that optimal microbiome. And so you're in this depleted state, so to speak. And so no time like the present, right? You don't have to stick with that bad microbiome. You can rebuild it right now, knowing, maybe this is the reason I can't lose weight. Maybe this is the reason my immune system is off. Maybe this is the reason that I get these mood swings. Maybe, but it all sort of comes back scientifically to what the microbiome is doing. And we can all take advantage of the new science to use these tools to improve our microbiome right now.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I had asked the question in one of my groups of women across the board, right? I've got a handful of women that are pretty close to me or a little bit farther along in the postpartum and have kids that are older, right? So all across the board, I said, what are some of the things that you felt were different after having kids? And coming back with focus, right? Mom brain, like there's a term for it, right? Because it's such a thing. So focus and mood, right? Not feeling the same joy that they were able to feel before. That's a very real thing, right? I think that we feel as women after having kids. The weight, either it being harder to lose weight, the things that you were able to do before aren't working now, right? Postpartum, and just a lot of sleep issues, and whether that be because of kids waking up or whatever, or then usually you get past that stage and then your body won't let you go to sleep, which is super fun. And the thing that I think is really cool is that all of these different components, right? There's a biochemical explanation. This is the thing that I love about this, is it's okay, you feel this way. Yes, that's real, but there's something that you can actually do about it. Right.
Yeah. So and coming from a biochemical perspective, right? Someone who's that's what my PhD is in, nutritional biochemistry. So I've been studying this kind of stuff for a long time. And we used to, years ago, we'd chalk it up and say, well, we're observing all these kinds of things, mommy brain and trouble losing weight and all the things you just listed. And we would use the science and say, well, what's off? Well, it's stress hormones like cortisol. Okay, there's things we can do for that. It's inflammatory markers, things like cytokines, something we can do for that. Your immune system, there's something we can do for that, right? So we're able to go to all that level of biochemistry and come up with natural solutions for each of those. And that's what we would do. What we know now, this new science around the microbiome, is that a lot of this comes right back to the microbiome. So the reason your cortisol is out of balance, or the reason that you're inflamed, the reason thyroid, the reason, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it's not just hormones, so to speak. The hormones are out of whack, but they're out of whack because of what's happening at the level of your microbiome. So your microbiome is out of balance, so you're not making your neurotransmitters, so you can't focus and be in a good mood. Your microbiome is out of balance, so you're overinflamed and your blood sugar is fluctuating, so you can't lose weight, and et cetera, et cetera. We go through all the whole thing, but it's a matter of now we're able to go one level deeper, so to speak, and understand what's underlying all those hormone disruptions and disruptions, etc. And it's the microbiome, and we can go and fix that. And by doing that, it rebalances a multitude of these things that were out of balance in the first place.
Yes. So it's like getting to the root instead of putting out fires everywhere and being where is this fire coming from? You're coming and you're actually getting to the source and rebalancing that way. So again, I want to take this back, right, and connect these dots for you. If you are a woman that has had babies, right, during that third trimester, your microbiome shifts to become less diverse and less resilient, right? Unless you're doing something to specifically address that. So then you come into postpartum with a less diverse and a less resilient microbiome, which is the epicenter, right, of where these hormones are either modulated, created, or some combination of that. Right. So your stress hormones, your metabolic hormones, right? So cravings, appetite, blood sugar stabilization, kind of how our metabolism works. A lot of that is either modulated or created through our microbiome, correct?
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, the hormone, yeah. So sometimes they're made by the microbiome. Sometimes they're modulated or acted on the microbiome. Sometimes they're like, we're talking about like sex hormones, like testosterone and estrogen and stuff like that. They're not made in the microbiome, but the microbiome can reactivate them, so to speak, or not, so that will change your overall exposure.
Yeah. So any of those. And then when we talk about like our happy hormones, right, or our neurotransmitters, so our serotonin, right, which that plays a role in so many different things, yep. Right? So if you're talking about sleep, if you're talking about mood, if you're talking about joy, right, there were several women in this chat that had said that they found it harder to find true joy. Right. Like they did before. And it's like, there is a reason your body like set you up to, I don't know what the design of that is. Like that doesn't make sense to me. There's a lot of things about postpartum that I'm like, okay, why did we design it this way? This does not make sense.
And that, so here's what like that like lack of joy is something we call anhedonia, right? That's the technical term for it. Things that you used to have joy in, hobbies and fun things, just are kind of blah now, right? And at its worst, you have this beautiful new baby that you're supposed to be over the moon about, and you're really stressed out and you're not getting the kind of joy that you think. And it, women a lot of times feel like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? Well, what's wrong with you is that your microbiome isn't producing this multitude of neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine and norepinephrine and GABA, and it's that whole mix that really get you to be focused and have joy and enjoyment and like all that kind of stuff. And the reason I get really excited about this is that we can modulate the microbiome to give back that cocktail of neurotransmitters. That's something you're not going to get from a pharmaceutical, right? You're not going to get that. I'm not anti-pharmaceutical, but like just the way they work, a Prozac or a Zoloft or a Xanax or something like that isn't going to work in the same way. It might work on one of the neurotransmitters or two of the neurotransmitters, but it doesn't give you this natural cocktail, which has been put out of balance, again, biologically by design. And we need to actively get in there and restore that balance.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the cool thing, and what we're going to dive into next is that there is a solution, a very simple solution, a very doable solution, and very targeted for this person, right? Whether it's the stage of life or if you're like, I'm 5 years out and I'm still feeling this way and it's progressively getting worse. And yes, now I'm having autoimmune issues and my thyroid's not working and like, it doesn't matter where you are on that spectrum, there's something that you can do. Okay. So I'm gonna introduce some products here, and then I'm gonna let Dr. Sean talk about why they work so well. So number one is what we call our happy juice. Okay, and it does exactly what it sounds like. But there's 3 specific products that are in this juice, essentially, right? You'd mix these together to be happy juice. And this right here for the postpartum mom, this is your survival kit right here. This is your rebuilding, repairing, rebalancing, getting all of those, your gut lining, your gut microbiome rebalanced and healthy. And then also, with these 2 products right here, and I think you can probably speak to it way better than I can. This right here helps to rebalance your stress hormones, stimulate your happy hormones, and give you that mental and physical energy that you need to show up and be the person you want to be. Like, that's what it feels like to me, is this is like, I can be the mom and the wife and the business owner and the woman that I want to be. And you can probably explain why.
Yeah. So think of it like, what I just described about your microbiome being the source of this cocktail, of this beautiful orchestra, right? This gamish of all these great neurotransmitters in the proper balance. What those products do is that, like neurotransmitter coordination, if you will, right? So if we want to be focused, that's one set of neurotransmitters. It's things like norepinephrine, for example, right? It's activating different parts of your brain. So if you want to get over the mommy brain kind of thing and be able to focus and think and remember, a product like Energy Plus, it's a healthy energy drink, but one of the huge ways that it works that's different than anything else out there is mental energy. That really gets you to focus and engage and be connected to whatever it is that you're trying to focus on. So that's one piece of the puzzle, right? That's not mood necessarily. It's not motivation. It's not resilience, right? Those are all other ways that you might want to feel better, right? They're just different ways that we measure psychological mood state. So Edge, which is the little sort of pinkish one that you were holding up there, that little canister, that helps with mood, motivation, and metabolism. So that has an aspect of blood sugar control and fat metabolism and belly fat loss and things like that. But where people really, really notice the benefits almost immediately are mood and motivation. So you feel a little bit happier. You feel really ready to, it's not just energy, but motivation is this kind of actionable energy where you really feel like getting something done. So it really, mood is different than energy. So you put those two things together, really, really nice cocktail where you feel mentally and physically ready to get up and go and do whatever it is that thing is that you wanted to do before, and now you don't have the motivation for, or you find a new hobby, but new moms don't have time for hobbies because
Yes.
You know what I mean, right?
So, and I want to touch really quickly before we move forward. So this right here also is going to have a positive effect on your cortisol balance. Right. Whereas if you are trying to get that energy, right, that mental energy from something like coffee or some other kind of caffeinated situation, right, that's going to actually be doing the opposite. That is going to have a negative effect on your cortisol, which is then going to affect your sleep. And it's just this whole cascade of, bad things. Right, you don't want to be over caffeinated.
Yeah. If you're using stimulating a short-term effect, positive effect, I guess, right? You feel more energetic. You're trading that for a longer-term big problem where you're going to be more fatigued, trouble sleeping. Your cortisol is going to go up versus down. That combination of those two products, Edge and Energy, is chock full of these compounds that we call flavonoids or polyphenols that can really not just activate what's happening in your gut, what we call your second brain, but activate what's happening in your first brain in your head. So that link between two brains, what we call the gut axis, that's the perfect way to do that. And Cassie, hold up that Edge real quick. I think you're probably not aware of this because it just happened last night. This is a finalist for the product of the year, for the supplement of the year. We're super happy. I'll talk more about it on my science call later on today, but yeah, super excited that Edge is a finalist for supplement of the year.
Oh, I love it. I used this all through my pregnancy. I used this during labor and then postpartum. I actually so I delivered my third time was the first medication-free, right, like natural birth that I'd had, and it was awesome. It was great. It was amazing. All the things. And I used Edge and our Relief Plus. I didn't do any NSAIDs or anything the whole time afterwards. Awesome. So it was great. I was really focused on the gut and making sure that my gut was healthy so I could bounce back quickly. Okay. So then the Mentibiotics, I think that just to touch on this of what this specifically is going to do for the microbiome and why it is such an incredible product for that postpartum person.
Yeah. So Mentibiotics is you could call it our gut product, right? It really is a full gut-brain axis system in that one powder, but it's an unflavored powder. That's one of the reasons it's great to mix it with the other two products we just talked about, because those are flavored and sweetened. So you mix it all up together. It tastes really, really good. Mentibiotics is a combination of specific strains of probiotic bacteria. And when I say specific strains, I mean specific strains that have been shown. We have one strain in there that has been shown to help with mood. Another strain that's specifically been shown to help with stress hormones. Another strain that's been specifically shown to help with stress and anxiety. So, you take these strains, you get a mental wellness benefit, but then we also give you prebiotic fibers to nourish those microbiome, nourish those strains so that they do what we want them to do, produce the serotonins and the dopamines and lower the cortisols and things like that, lower inflammation. So that cocktail is probiotics, it's prebiotic fibers, it's what we refer to as phytobiotics, which are plant extracts that help the signaling across the gut-brain axis. So there's a lot going on in that product, Mentibiotics. Not only is it working directly on your microbiome, it's also helping with your gut lining, right? Improving what we call gut integrity, so that you don't have what is sometimes referred to as leaky gut, because that can lead to, you can have a perfect microbiome, but if your gut lining is permeable, right? If there's holes in it, so to speak, that's going to lead to inflammation, immune system problems, stress hormones. So really the two have to work in concert. You have to have good gut lining and you have to have a good microbiome, the bacteria in there. And that Mentibiotics works on all of that simultaneously.
Yeah. So really, really great, just all in one gut support product that if you have never went in and done something specific to rebuild and repair your gut after a pregnancy, right? After a surgery, after a stressful life event. I mean, I could list off so many, moving, getting a new job, right, getting a puppy, like all of these different things, it's going to have an effect on your gut, and going back through and rebuilding and repairing is going to set you up either at or better than you were before, instead of the opposite, where it's like right, the baseline just keeps going down, 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 down.
Yeah. And then with a product like that, with Antibiotics, some people sometimes like, well, I don't really think I have any of these, mood issues that you're talking about. And I don't think I have any of these gut issues that you're talking about. I think I'm good. But people will try it sometimes anyway. And a lot of times they're the best, like the open-minded skeptic, right? They're like, I don't think I need this kind of thing, and I'm going to try it anyway. And they come back and they go, I just feel like I'm more able to do my thing with lower stress and better resilience. And like that, like it's this overall improvement of your efficacy in a sense, right? What I would refer to as resilience, because of that, right? So we've got something for resilience, Mentibiotics. We've got something for mental energy. That's our Energy Plus. We've got something for motivation, our Edge. And so you could look at any of those and go, well, those are all three, like they stand on their own. They don't have to be used together. Well, that's a good thing, and that's a good thing, and that's a good thing. But when you put them together, that's what I meant before when I was saying it's this coordination of all these neurotransmitters and all these different mood states. When you put that happy juice together, that's the best way to describe it, that you're just better,
Yes, you're better. You are. It's the description that I would say is like, you feel like yourself again, but better. And I think that right there is what women that have had babies, that's what they're looking for, is I just want to feel like myself again. I want to feel like this right here. And then the third product we're going to talk about, or fourth product, I guess, this right here, that's what it does, is it will make you feel like yourself again, but better. And in a way that, again, there's a biochemical explanation to all of it. It's really good, healthy. It's not something that is stimulants or like suppressing what's actually going on underneath the surface. It's getting to what's going on underneath of the surface and making that function the way that it should, which is really cool. Okay, fourth product we're going to talk about, and this one right here is brand new. We just launched this product last month, so we've been
it's been
out in the wild,
like a perfect month now, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, we launched it on January 14th. So what's today? 17th, a month. Yeah.
So we're a month in, and I was able to start on this product on December 1st with our pilot program with it. And so at that point, I was 3.5 months postpartum. I'm breastfeeding. I do not lose weight postpartum typically, like until I am a year out. But like right around 10 months, my body will start kind of being like, okay, we're willing to let go of some of this fat. All right, fine. You can go do your life again. Right. That has been my body previously. So, getting an opportunity to try this QUADbiotic that we're going to talk about was really exciting. And I was curious just to see what was going to happen, right? Because I already was doing all of these other things to keep my gut healthy. I felt good with mood and focus and energy and all of those kinds of things. But I definitely was very hungry, like appetite out of control a little bit, you know, which is part of that is by design. And I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on this. Craving foods that maybe were probably not the ones that I should be eating or that were the best for my goals, my metabolic goals, right? Weight loss goals. And not sleeping as good as I could, right? So I started using this product. I've been using it again since December 1st. I'm down 20 pounds. What's really exciting, yeah, it's just, and it has been effortless. And I don't say that like to brag of like, oh, I've been eating Big Macs. No, I'm a healthy person, and I have been able to just go on about my healthy life and put this product into my daily routine. And my body is just responding in a really positive way. In this past week, Dr. Sean, I'm really excited about this. I've gained like 1.5 pounds of, well, 2 weeks. I don't know how long it's been. Anyways, my muscle is going up. Yep. And fat is going down, yep. Which is what I want to see, yeah. Right? Like, it's not so much about the number on the scale. It's that I want my strength back. I want my shape back. I want, you know, I want all of those kinds of things back. And that's what's happening with this product, which is really cool.
Yep. Yeah. So where to start with this, right? This is a product a long time in development. So you've been with us since like almost the very, very beginning, right? We've been harnessing this idea of the microbiome that we've been talking about for mood issues, right? Helping people feel better with better focus and better mood and better resilience and all that kind of stuff. Over that time, what we realized is that a lot of the signals that are coming out of the microbiome, these neurotransmitters and cytokines and hormones and things like that, aren't just signaling the brain to help us feel better. They're also signaling other parts of the body. And so we went and tried to harness that to say, wait a minute, what if we could take some of those signals, and some of those signals are appetite signals, where you were just talking about appetite and cravings and things like that. What if we could modulate those in a positive direction? A lot of those come from the microbiome. Blood sugar, insulin signals, appetite neurotransmitters that have these abbreviations, PYY and GLP-1 and, you know, these kinds of things. But if we modulate the microbiome in the right direction, you can modulate your appetite in the right direction so that you're less hungry for junk food, so that you're not getting those cravings, so you're getting signals that you should be energetic when you want to and relaxed when you want to. So that can help with sleep, which can also help with appetite. So all these signals, right? What we know about weight, and that product QUADbiotic is called GBX Fit. It's not for weight loss specifically. It's to help you change your body composition. And that's an important distinction. It's to help you get signals coming from your microbiome to the rest of your body that help your appetite, to put you in a release mode. Those are signals that come from your adipose cells, what we call adipokines. Signals from your muscle cells, what we call myokines. So you want your fat on, you want your muscle to go up. That's a change in body composition. That's what this product does. So QUADbiotic, there's 4 different biotics in this product that help with different parts of that signaling pathway. So we have a specific probiotic strain that helps with stress signals. We have a specific phytobiotic, which is an orange peel extract that helps with sleep quality. We have the probiotic also helps with inflammatory signals. We have a postbiotic, a phytobiotic, with prebiotic, which is an acacia gum fiber that helps with appetite and blood sugar control. And then we have a postbiotic, which is also a probiotic strain, but it's a heat-killed strain that still has bioactivity in the microbiome that helps with fat release and belly fat loss. So you put all of that together, and again, it goes back, the idea we talked about before, this coordination of all these neurotransmitters. Now we're having a coordination of all of these signals, these metabolic signals. And if there's one thing, I'll say this one last thing, and I'll hand it back to you. If there's one thing we've learned about weight over the last decade or so, is that it's not a math problem, right? It's not a problem of calories in and calories out. And if you would just, solve that math equation, you'd magically lose weight. People have been trying that for a long, long time, and it doesn't work very well. What you'll see when you plug this GBX Fit into your life, when you're on that good plan, and you actually just described it perfectly. When you're on that plan of doing your best with your diet and doing your best with your physical activity and doing your best with your sleep and all those important lifestyle factors, factors, this helps that program gain more traction. And what I mean by that is that people will go, hey, look, I honestly haven't changed anything with my good plan that I've been struggling with because it hasn't been giving me benefits. But now I added this in and now I'm getting benefits. My fat's going down and my muscle is going up and I'm feeling good. And what the heck, right? Like people are flabbergasted by it because, and the reason is it's not a weight loss. It's not a math problem. It's a signaling problem. And we're changing those signals in a positive direction.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm going to take you back to where we started, where we talked about during pregnancy in that third trimester, where you see the shifts and changes to the microbiome, right? Where you're seeing less diversity, more inflammation, and a metabolically less fit microbiome would be like a great way to explain it.
It's a great way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are automatically having that happen. And then you go into postpartum, and then however many times that this has happened in your life, however many postpartum seasons that you've had, right? If you have not went back in and rebuilt and rebalanced and repaired, your microbiome is not programmed to be metabolically fit, more than likely, right? And it's less and less and less and less with every baby that you've had or life event or, fill in the blank. But specifically, we know that with babies that this happens. So this is a product, right, that is you can literally take and it will reprogram your microbiome to be more metabolically fit. So a couple of things that you said, and I want to just describe what this has felt like for me in this season. So fat release mode and signals, right? So programming the microbiome to essentially tell the body to release fat.
Right.
That's what it's felt like.
Yeah, because the microbiome has been programmed across this pregnancy to hold on to fat, right?
Yes.
At all costs.
Yes.
Eat more, store more, hold on to it because we're going to need it once this baby's delivered, right? That's true. But you need to get yourself out of that as soon as you deliver. And if you don't actively go in there and manage those signals, you're going to be stuck with fat storage, appetite kinds of signals. And we need to flip that switch.
Flip the switch. Exactly. Flip the switch. Okay. Cause it served its purpose. Right. And then we as women, we get to a point and we're like, okay, body, you served your purpose. We got that done. Can we please go back to, like, I would like to look like how I feel like I look, you know what I mean? Like, right. I don't know if you know what I mean, but the woman that is watching this, I guarantee knows what I mean, where like, you would like to feel like yourself in your body again. And you would like to look in the mirror and feel like the person that you are, right? And that's a real thing. So your microbiome postpartum is kind of set up to not have that happen. And so this is a product that can just boom, flip that switch on and help you get more benefits from the healthy things that you're already doing. And then you can kind of gain momentum. And then the second part was that the fat is going down and the muscle is going up. Okay, I'm 36 now, I think. I had to think about that. I think I turned 36. And what is it, at 18, you kind of start losing muscle mass, but it really starts to speed up for women at 35, right? Where you're starting to lose that muscle mass, which is going to have an effect on a lot of different things, but particularly your metabolism, right? And as you have less muscle mass, then your metabolism is going to have to work harder, blah, 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 all the things. Yep. So that's been really cool to see that happen, where in my mind, I was like, I'm going to have to work so much harder now after having a baby at this stage and going through that whole postpartum season and just everything that happens physically to your body, or my body, at least what happens when I have babies, to rebuild and then get ahead with like the muscle mass and keeping like my stature. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, totally does. The reason that we know all this is because, having a disrupted microbiome, having a low diversity microbiome as we age is associated with frailty, right? It's associated with muscle loss. It's associated with diabetes. It's associated with memory problems. It's associated with not aging well. And so that whole body of work that has just exploded in the last 10 years has given us a lot of information that we can use and say, now we understand these signals better. Now we can affect them. And, people who aren't 70, right? People who are 30 and 40 and, and want to get back to their normal, vibrant selves, it's the same science. We're just applying it in a sort of a healthy, like performance oriented way.
Yeah. And so that's been really cool. So instead of thinking that at my age and having a third baby, right, that I was going to have to work so much harder to see the results, it's been the opposite, where I've actually been able to do less and see better results. Awesome. So the couple of things, I am breastfeeding, and I did not have any issues with supply. So that was been really cool. I haven't had cravings. My appetite has been normal, healthy, right? A healthy appetite, not something where I feel like I need to consume massive amounts of calories, or I'm never full or something like that, which is that can happen postpartum, where you feel that way, where you're craving certain kinds of foods, or you are just always hungry. And that hasn't been the case. So it's just been a really simple thing to add in. It works. There's a reason why it works. And yeah, it just makes sense. I think if you have had babies and you're in that stage of life where, again, whether recent or on down the road, that like you can reprogram, heal, and you can and you should reprogram your microbiome in your gut to help you look and feel the way that you want to look and feel, to get your joy back, to be able to focus. Like, I am more mentally fit, whatever that means, now than I was before kids, for sure. Right. Where I can focus, I'm more productive, creative, happier, more stress resilient, all of those things because of what I put into my body and how I support it. My metabolism is functioning better now than it ever did in the past, for sure, because of how, I'm using your products and intentionally going in there and reprogramming it to work for me, instead of, either just like not doing anything, just kind of, you know what I mean? Like either my body just being baseline, whatever, or working against me, right? Which I think is what a lot of times we feel like our body is doing.
Right, exactly. And people will probably have the question of, well, can I just do this through food? Can I just eat salads all the time, and salad and salmon, and I'll drink my kombucha and I'll eat my yogurt and stuff like that, and it'll all take care of itself? Well, to a degree it might, right? But this is new science where we're able to say, wait a minute, we know the strains that help with serotonin. We know the strains that help with cortisol. We know the signals that help with appetite. Why wouldn't you go in there and actively reprogram your microbiome back to where you wanted it to be? So you benefit sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And to that point, I'm just like, when someone has that thought or that idea or whatever, it's like, you don't have time. You only have a limited amount of time on this planet, and you can hit the fast lane to healing your body, to feeling the way you want to feel. Like, the science is there. So leverage the science and don't waste time thinking that you're going to, eat this completely clean diet and eliminate all stress, and you're going to get 8 hours of perfect Zen sleep. I don't know when that's going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen in my life. So I'm like,
totally, still try that stuff, right? Do your best on all that, right? Don't think you can take the supplements and then be like, all right, it's ice cream for dinner, like that kind of thing, but do your best. But this is going to help your best be even better.
Yes. It's going to help your best be even better and help you. I mean, I guess that is the point, right? That's the whole thing right there, is we want to live healthy, vibrant lives. And that includes good nutrition and sleep and eating the salmon and drinking the kombucha and all of that. But that alone, you don't have to plant your flag here, but I will. That will not get you to your highest performing, best feeling self, period, end of story. Like, leverage the science and 100%. Supercharge yourself.
Yeah. I train a lot of dietitians and health coaches and things like that in the work that I do. And that's the flag that I plant. I say to them all the time, I'm like, look, I know there's a lot of food first people here. I raise my hand. I'm a food first kind of person. Absolutely. You got to have that good foundation. But if you want to go to that next level, you have to supplement. There's no way around it. Right. And that's a choice. Like, what level of performance do you want to have? If you want to have the highest level, that's going to include some science-based supplements at whatever level you think you need.
I love that. Okay. And that's the perfect way to hop off of here right there, is at whatever level